As humans, we can be so comfortable with being comfortable. We say that we want to make a difference. We say we want to do something in this world that advances the kingdom of God. But when it's time to step out in faith, when it's time to do something that is different from the rest, that's when we start to resist. We say we want God to use us. We say that we want to do mighty things. But when God is telling you to do something that makes you look crazy in order to display his power, that's when we start to back out. I don't say this to ridicule you. I don't say this to condemn you. Even me, as I was recording this video, I started walking past some people and I shut off the camera because I felt embarrassed. But I'm here saying that I want to make a difference to you guys when I'm even struggling myself. That's something that I need to pattern up on myself. But regardless if it is something that I deal with myself, I can still encourage you guys. I want to encourage you guys to take that step of faith. Do what you need to do in order to allow God to use you to do the mighty things that he wants to use you to do. As I said in my other video, in order to make a difference, we need to be different. We need to be able to put aside the opinions of other people. We need to be able to put aside what other people think in order to please God. Because at the end of the day, he's the person who we're supposed to aim to please, not men, not our family members, not our wife, not our husbands. Put the opinions aside of other people and do what God has told you to do. As hard as it might feel, as hard as it might be, it's not impossible. We always have to remember that God will never allow us to be tempted more than we can handle. Whatever God has told us to do, we have the ability to do it. It's up to you though. Do you want to walk in the power that God has given you? Or do you want to allow fear to get in the way? Do you want to allow fear to stop you from doing what God has called you to do? We have to remember though that being different doesn't always come with flowers at first. Sometimes you're going to get people laughing at you. Sometimes you're going to get people ridiculing you, people taking a mick out of you. But at the end of the day, you know why you're doing this. You know why you stop doing those certain things. You know why you are walking towards the goals that you have. Why? Because God is the one that told you to do it. Not because of man, not because it's cool, not because it's going to get you the most likes, the most views. You're doing it, why? Because God told you to do it. We always need to remind ourselves of the end goal, the reason why we're doing things at certain times, the reason why we start to become fearful at times, the reason why we start to do things that are contrary to the will of God. It's because we are focusing on something other than God. We're not focusing on the sole reason why we're doing this in the first place. You need to remind yourself that the reason that you're doing that is not because of men. It's not because of the amount of clout you can get. You're doing it for God. That should push you. That sole reason should be able to push you to do anything in this world. Anything that God has told you to do. But sometimes we don't have the reverence. That's the problem. Sometimes the reverence for God isn't there. So even though we know we're doing it for God, that's not enough for us. We feel like we need to get more from what we're doing. When at the end of the day, God is our prize. If God blesses us with even more, then we thank God. But at the end of the day, God is our sole prize that we should be focusing on. So yeah, be different to make a difference. Do your part and let God handle the rest.